Jordan Peterson recently spoke at the Parliament House in Australia, and he commented on the meeting that he had with Scott Morrison, the ex-Prime Minister of Australia. All of this has created plenty of waves and controversy, and some people are even calling for a boycott of Peterson's content. But what exactly did Jordan Peterson say? Let's dive in. Okay, so what are the specifics of Peterson's speech? It sounds as if Jordan Peterson delivered a speech to a number of Australian politicians as part of his current speaking tour of Australia. And with Scott Morrison finding a front row seat, it seems like he was hanging on to Peterson's every word. This is something that has not been lost on many people, considering the fact that Scott Morrison was the Prime Minister of Australia until only recently. So, Jordan Peterson, who is known for his controversial views on many topics, spoke to a number of Australian politicians. He had some very strong things to say about the state of society at the moment, and he commented on quite a few issues. Peterson said that he discussed a renewed classic liberal/conservative vision with Scott Morrison, and he also urged the politicians to be prepared to listen. This has taken place through Peterson's recently unbanned Twitter account, which was unbanned when Elon Musk bought Twitter and took over as the CEO. Apparently, both Pauline Hanson and Malcolm Roberts were in attendance for Peterson's speech. Both of these people are well-known Australian politicians, and both of them have been involved in a number of controversies over the years. Peterson says that it was not just Hanson and Roberts who were present at his speech on the occasion, but there were also a number of other politicians present. He has not yet said what they thought of his speech, however. It seems that many people are waiting to see what these politicians have to say, as Peterson's speech could potentially have a significant impact on their political careers. Why is there controversy? Well, it seems as if some people are calling for a boycott of Peterson's work after he delivered this speech. According to Senator Canavan, there's been a lefty meltdown in response to Peterson's speech, with people criticizing him for speaking at the Parliament House. Canavan has described the response as hilarious, and he also says that it's even better than the talk. In a world dominated by the siren song of instant gratification, Jordan's message of the need for discipline and sacrifice to achieve meaning and happiness has resonated with millions, Canavan wrote. It was kind of him to spend time at our Parliament House during a busy book tour. So it seems clear that Peterson, who has attracted frequent protests and criticism from the left, has once again found himself in hot water. Only time will tell how this latest controversy will play out. So what exactly did Peterson advocate for? From sources at the event, he spoke about the importance of a renewed classic liberal/conservative vision. This includes cheap energy, local environmental protection, holding up the nuclear family as the ideal, and encouraging individual responsibility. He also said that political leaders should be prepared to listen to their constituents, as well as those with different worldviews. Beyond this, let's talk about what Peterson discussed with Scott Morrison. Apparently, a large part of the conversation was focused on energy policy in Australia and how this would fit in with net zero carbon emissions by 2050. According to Jordan Peterson, he believed that part of what was necessary to solve the energy transition problem was to ensure that energy was provided. Let's say if it was provided in an alternative way, a renewable way, that it would also be equally inexpensive. He said he spent a lot of time trying to convince other leaders of that when they were orchestrating their environmental policy, but not with much success. Peterson also went on to say that the pair agreed that renewable energy should not come at the expense of higher prices for consumers. And you don't save the planet either, but you definitely hurt people who are poor, Peterson said. So it sounds as if the pair reached a mutual understanding, and this is also reflected in Morrison's comments, as well as his recent appearance at Peterson's speech. What about the so-called cancellation attempts and controversy? Okay, so Peterson's speech was not without controversy, with some people even calling for a boycott of his material. Multiple people, websites, and public figures have spoken out about Peterson even being able to give a speech at the Parliament House in Australia. So what is the controversy here? Well, it seems as if some people are criticizing Peterson for normalizing far-right views. Peterson himself recently spoke about these cancellation attempts in an interview, where he detailed what he believed were multiple cancellation attempts by far-left people and organizations. Referring to the cancellation attempts, now in my situation, the situation my family has been in, we've been subject to intense attempts at cancellation dozens of times, Peterson said in an interview, some of them of ridiculous intensity and duration. But this isn't the first time that Peterson has found himself in hot water. In fact, it seems as if he is constantly under fire from the left for his views on gender identity, among other things. So it's safe to say that this latest controversy will not be the last time we see Jordan Peterson in the news. At the moment, however, Peterson has been in the news for multiple speaking engagements in Australia. He's been touring the country, speaking to multiple groups and organizations. So it's safe to say that this latest controversy is not going to stop him from doing what he loves, What about Jordan Peterson's previous Twitter controversy? Jordan Peterson has been particularly outspoken about masculinity and has previously stated that the masculine spirit is under assault. Dr. Peterson was suspended from Twitter in June after he tweeted that movie star Elliot Page had his breasts removed by a criminal physician. He also used his former name, Ellen, a practice referred to by transgender people as dead naming, and which many consider offensive. Around the same time, he claimed Russia was pushed to invade Ukraine to prevent the spread of the degeneracy of America's gender culture wars. Are we degenerate in a profoundly threatening manner? Peterson wrote. I think the answer to that may well be yes. For this reason, many left-wingers are posing the question of why Peterson was allowed back on Twitter, and why he was even being allowed to give a speech at the Australian Parliament. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in the coming days and weeks. What was Jordan Peterson's relationship with Scott Morrison? Although neither of these men seem to have spoken much in the past, if at all, it seems like Scott Morrison has been a fan of Jordan Peterson for quite some time now. This is something that was confirmed by Scott Morrison himself, who spoke about his relationship with Peterson in an interview, with Morrison seeming to believe that Jordan Peterson makes a lot of sense overall, and with him even attending one of Peterson's speeches. It seems clear that the two men have some kind of mutual respect for each other. The real question will be what kind of effect this has on Peterson's career and public image. With Peterson having a large and loyal following, it seems unlikely that anything he says or does will have a significant impact on his career. And with Scott Morrison being such a high-profile figure in the Australian political scene, it's unlikely that he will suffer any negative consequences for his association with Peterson. So for now, if both men are going to continue doing what they do best, Jordan Peterson will keep speaking and writing, and Scott Morrison will keep leading the Australian people through difficult times. This, though, is only the beginning of the story, with many believing both of these public figures to be unfit for their jobs. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in the coming days and weeks. So far, however, it seems as if both men have come out of this latest controversy unscathed. Okay, let's sum it up. Jordan Peterson recently gave a speech in front of Australian politicians, including Scott Morrison. Some people are criticizing him for normalizing far-right views, while others are praising him for his courage in speaking out against the left. It remains to be seen what kind of effect this latest controversy will have on Peterson's career, but it seems unlikely that it will have any significant impact. For now, it seems as if both men are going to continue working through this controversy as they have through their previous controversies. And now, with Jordan Peterson's Twitter account reinstated, it seems as if he's going to continue speaking his mind on the platform. So if you're a fan of Jordan Peterson, this news is exciting. If, however, you're not a fan of his work, then you might want to stay away from Twitter for the foreseeable future. But what are your thoughts on the situation? Go ahead and tell us in the comments whether you think Jordan Peterson should be allowed to speak in front of Australian politicians, and whether his Twitter should have been reinstated. Let us know what you think about the whole situation, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.